Welcome to Sting Tales, where meaningful stories are told in a simple but profound voice. Today, we will listen to a story titled, The Farmer and the Weeds. Before we begin, if you love the stories that the channel brings, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share to spread good messages to more people. Now, let's go into today's story. Chapter 1. Sowing Field. The morning sun had just risen. The gentle light spread across the fields. The air was still damp with dew. The birds chirped on the olive branches. A farmer named Elias was preparing to sow wheat in his field. Elias was not rich. He only had a small plot of land, enough to feed his wife and children for years. But he was diligent, patient, and believed that whoever sowed good seeds would reap a golden harvest. That morning, Elias carried a cloth bag, and each handful of carefully selected good seeds was scattered evenly across the ground. With each step, he whispered a prayer. Lord, please bless this harvest. Please let the wheat I sowed grow green and green, so that my family and the whole village can have bread to eat. His hands were calloused, his face was sunburned, but Elias's eyes were shining with trust. Chapter 2. The Sower of Bad Seeds. Night fell, the wind blew cool. After a hard day's work, Elias slept soundly in his tent. But while everyone was resting, an enemy sneaked into his field. He brought with him a bag of strange seeds. Darnel, a weed that looks like wheat when young, but when it grows, it becomes stubborn and poisonous, ruining the crop. The enemy scattered darnel between the newly sown wheat. He chuckled. Let's see how Elias will reap this season. Then he left, leaving the field silent under the moonlight. Chapter 3. The workers' surprise. Weeks passed. The rains came. The seeds sprouted. The green shoots grew straight, signaling a promising harvest. But then, while the young wheat was growing tall, Elias's worker discovered strange plants growing among them. He ran to his master and reported, Sir, the seed you sowed is good. Why are there weeds growing among the wheat? Elias frowned and looked closely. Indeed, among the wheat rows, many weeds were growing. At first they looked like wheat, but as they grew, their differences became more obvious. The worker was impatient. Sir, do you want us to pull them out? Elias thought for a moment and shook his head. No. If you pull the weeds now, you might pull out the wheat too. Let them both grow until the harvest. Then I will tell the harvesters to gather the weeds into bundles and burn them, while the wheat is gathered into the barn. The worker was surprised. But the weeds will harm the wheat? Elias replied, I know, but be patient. Only when they are ripe will they be clearly distinguishable. We must wait for the harvest. Chapter 4. Village Rumors. The news spread throughout the village. Some praised it, others criticized it. Some said, he is wise. If he had pulled it out too early, the young rice would have been lost. But others criticized. What a fool. Let the weeds grow, they will absorb all the nutrients. How can the field yield anything? Although he heard all the gossip, Elias remained silent. He did not respond, only cared for his field, watered it, tended the soil, and patiently waited for God to judge. Chapter 5. Testing Faith. Summer came. The sun was blazing. The wind was dry. The weeds grew vigorously, crowding the rice. The worker felt heartbroken many times. Sir, the weeds are growing stronger and stronger. It hurts to see them. Elias reassured, don't worry. Just take care of the soil, water it. When the harvest comes, everything will be clear. However, deep down, Elias was often shaken. One night he lay awake, looking at the stars and wondering, is my decision wrong? But then, he remembered what his father had taught him. Be patient, for the harvest belongs to God. Chapter 6. Harvest Time. Time passed. The months of tending, watering, and weeding passed. Elias's rice fields were now heavy with grain, turning golden like the gentle rays of early autumn light. Each ear of rice bent under the weight of the grain, swaying in the gentle breeze, creating a sound like a gentle rustling, echoing throughout the field. Meanwhile, the weeds still stood straight, dry, their dark green leaves tinged with brown, standing out clearly in the sea of ripe rice, like a reminder that evil still existed alongside good. Elias walked slowly between the rows of rice, his hand lightly touching each ear, as if touching the result of months of sacrifice and patience. He felt the strong scent of the soil, of ripe rice, mixed with the smell of smoke from the bundles of hay near the edge of the field, where the harvesters were preparing their tools. Looking up, he called to the harvesters, "Gather the weeds first, tie them up, and burn them. As for the wheat, harvest it carefully and store it in the barn." The harvesters, who had been worried when they saw the weeds growing crowded together, now looked at him with both respect and joy. They understood that Eliah's decision was correct, and this moment was a testament to patience and faith. The fire flared up, burning each bundle of dry weeds. The smoke billowed up, swirling into the sky, wrapping around the golden rays of sunlight, as if carrying away all the evil seeds that the enemy had sown. The crackling sound of the fire, mixed with the sound of dry branches being burned, created a sound that was both fierce and peaceful, as if proving that evil could not last long. The field was lit up under the bright sunlight, each ear of rice swaying in the wind, golden like a gentle sea of fire. Elias felt a surge of joy, a mixture of relief and gratitude. He watched the hard-working harvesters, the grain being packed into sacks, filling the barns, and heard their laughter and cheerful chatter. The sounds of abundance and happiness that he closed his eyes for a moment, sighing in peace. "Lord, you have given us a bountiful harvest. Though the enemy sowed evil, you have preserved the good seeds. I thank you. Teach me to be more patient, to trust and entrust everything to you." Elias opened his eyes, looked up at the clear blue sky. White clouds drifted lazily, and light shone through like streams of grace over the fields. He knew that not only the rice, but also his faith had been reaped. Happiness lies not only in material success, but also in peace of mind, in understanding that true wisdom lies in being patient and trusting in God. Even when the naked eye does not see results the eye in the field, suddenly a gentle breeze blew, shaking each ear of rice, creating the music of nature. Elias smiled, looking at each golden row of rice stretching to the horizon, feeling that each grain of rice was a living testament to the faith, patience, and justice that God always upholds in the following harvest days. Elias and his servants harvested each ear of rice, each golden grain, filled the barn, and shared the surplus with the village. Everyone was amazed at the abundance, reminding each other that patience, trust, and faith in God always bring results beyond imagination. Chapter 7. The parable is retold. The story did not stop in the village, but spread throughout the region. People mentioned Elias as an example of patience and wisdom, and gradually, the story became a parable. The wheat is the righteous, the weeds are the wicked, the field is the world, the harvest is the day of God's judgment. Chapter 8. Lessons of Patience, the shining message. In life, good and evil still go together. Sometimes we cannot distinguish immediately, nor can we hastily judge. Only God has the right to make the final judgment. The task of man is to be patient, live in faith, and take care of the rice in his soul, so that when God comes, he will judge fairly. Chapter 9. Reflection for today. The parable is still valid. In the family, there are good people, weak people. We are called to be patient, to pray, to love. In society, justice and injustice, light and darkness go together. Do not be quick to judge. Trust that God will judge. In our own hearts, wheat and weeds coexist, holy dreams and temptations. Nurture the good seed, leave the rest to God. Chapter 10. Conclusion. The harvest belongs to God. Elias closed the harvest season in great joy, his steps heavy, but his heart light. The fields now smelled of ripe grain, the warm, dry air of the earth, and the smoke from the burnt bundles of weeds rising to the blue sky. He stood still, his eyes filled with gratitude, and in that moment, he felt God's wonderful arrangement. Everything has its time, everything is according to God's will, and all patience is rewarded. He understood that wisdom does not lie in hastily eliminating evil, nor in acting on momentary emotions. Instead, true wisdom lies in trusting God's plan, in keeping faith and being patient in the most difficult moments, even when the results are not visible to the naked eye. Elias' story, the wheat field and the weeds, became a living lesson for the whole village and gradually spread throughout the region. It is told not only as an agricultural story, but as a reminder of life and spirituality. Every human being has wheat and weeds in his soul, and sometimes we must learn to be patient, to nurture the good, and let God judge everything in its time. Elias smiled as he thought of the people in his village who had doubted his decision. He knew that there are times in life when people will doubt, will worry, and will want to interfere in what only God can handle properly. But if one is patient, knows how to surrender, one will see his light shine, see justice and complete mercy. He said to himself, "Be patient in faith, and do not judge hastily. The harvest belongs to God, and he will judge in due time. The good will be protected, the bad will be purified, and everything is in his hands." And so, Elias' field is not only a place to sow seeds, but also a place to sow faith. It reminds each person that, in this life, patience, faith, and trust in God are priceless seeds, seeds that have the power to transform souls, leading people to true peace and happiness. Thank you for listening to today's story on Sting Tales, The Farmer and the Weeds. Hopefully the story has brought you deep reflections on patience and faith in God's timing. That if you love the meaningful stories that the channel brings, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share so that more people can receive these good messages. Please continue to accompany Sting Tales in the next stories. Wishing you and your family peace, full of faith and hope.